Real Estate Roadmap podcast, and we're joined by my co-host
Alex Mandel.
and
JD Sanchez.
yeah, that's your cue. JD is a little rusty because usually it's Jennifer Konikoff with us, but Jen Slam doing real estate stuff, making some money, and apparently we're not as busy as cool as her, so we're doing the podcast. But I think this is even cooler because we have a cool. Usually on our podcast, we talk about the unique ways that we generate business in residential real estate, and every now and then we kind of break it up a little bit because we get introduced to really cool people like we have on today, discuss different ways of doing real estate, which is a perk of doing podcast. And with us is Brent Bowers of the Land Sharks, who invest in lands. I'm not going to take his thunder. But that's the basic interest of what he does. So, Brent, what's going on, buddy?
Guys, thanks for having me on the Real Estate Roadmap. It's awesome. You guys are all down in South Florida. I'm in Central Florida, so we're not far from each other. But yeah, I'm just thinking about the differences of just the residential real estate down there that I remember in 2007 when I was just a 21-year-old guy trying to make it in real estate. And I quit in 2009 because I thought that the military would have been easier than pounding the streets.
You know what? You're
Beach.
probably not wrong, Brent, by that.
I mean, I would wear shoes out in Delray Beach, just door knocking. So yeah, times were tough for me back then. And, fast forward many years later, I never stopped practicing real estate. I'd say about 2016, I finally started getting successful because I found land investing because hardly anyone was doing it. And I didn't know you could make money in it. I thought you had to be rich, buy land and wait. But I didn't have time to wait. I needed to make money yesterday.
Yeah. So tell us about that. That's actually very interesting. So you're in residential real estate like us. And then you did the military thing, came back, wanted to get back into real estate, and somehow you discovered land.
Yeah.
Let's start there. How did that happen?
Whew, long story. So I got my license in 2007. I grew up in Okeechobee, Florida. I hope I'm still allowed on the podcast after that. So basically, I knew cattle and I had a lawn business, but I always wanted to get in real estate. I was reading The Art of the Deal by Donald Trump in middle school. I was going to be successful in real estate one day. So I got my license in 2007 with Exit Realty. And the first property I found out about is like the first day in the office, I made an offer on it because I didn't become a agent to sell other people's houses. I was there to buy houses with money I didn't have. I was going to use OPM, other people's money. I took a Robert Allen Institute wealth creation, no money down course. And I was like convinced this is going to work, which it will. Anything will work if you do it long enough. So bought the house, rented it out, moved to West Palm Beach, commuting to Delray every day. And then 2009, I threw in the towel. I joined the military, a couple deployments to Afghanistan, lived in Germany for a little while. Finally got out of that about 2013 when the Army sent me to school in Brevard County, so Melbourne. Bought some more houses there and then just started buying rentals, more and more rentals, started accumulating rentals. About 2016, I had like 8 doors and I was ready to leave the Army because I had 2 babies at the time and I was never home preparing for the 3rd combat deployment. And that real estate kept ringing in my mind. I was like, I know I can be successful in this, but I can't leave my job because I have all these crappy rentals when I've got to pay for with my W-2 job, which was just not right? Like these were like forced savings accounts is what I called them to make myself feel better about my life. And I was wholesaling houses haphazardly. But really I was just spending a lot of money in postcards. And I heard a podcast, just like the Real Estate Roadmap podcast. And I heard a guy talking about land investing. And he's like doubling his money overnight. And I was like, if half of that is true, this is my way out. So I immediately started taking some crazy massive action and started doing land deals.
Okay, well, that's actually very fascinating.
Yeah.
Because we don't hear that ever. So how can you? Okay, so my mind, and you're going to answer these questions, but my mind's racing. It's like, okay, first question is, where did you get all this money for all these rental properties that you buy?
Yeah,
that's fine. That's the one. That's what I wrote down as a question. We using other people's money.
Countrywide Mortgage, SunTrust Bank, Bank of America. Well, no, I'm sorry, I didn't have good enough credit for Bank of America. They're mean.
They're mean.
American Express, Home Depot. So I was leveraged to the max.
Yeah, you're leveraged.
I had no savings. I did have savings in Afghanistan for the year I did in Afghanistan. I came home with like $6,000 in 2011. And I lived in Germany at the time. So that was my home base, me and my wife and our dog. Didn't have any kids. This was my first wife, by the way. And she was so mad at me because we had an eviction. We had to evict this tenant, and we had to spend all that $5,000 savings getting this house back. And this is in 2011 when $5,000 would still clean up a house, basically. So we spent all that money, and we didn't have any money to go anywhere and travel Europe while I finally got my first day off in a year. And she's like, because of your ridiculous house, we're stuck here. We can't do anything. So that like sits in my heart still to this day. But my real estate roadmap was kind of rough in the beginning. So I didn't have any money.
Most people's are. I mean, people see the glory and the fun stuff, but behind the scenes, there's a lot going on.
But you were mortgaging these properties, but you were still having to come up with the down payment, or because of the time frame you bought them in like that 06, 08 era, it was like, oh, I make this much money, just give me a loan. Is that how you acquired them? Like,
yeah, 2007, I just the mortgage company. So I had a business, I had a lawn service that I was making pretty good money, way more than I was making in Delray Beach. So I left that to my dad right after we bought that house. But yeah, they pretty much gave me this mirror and I blew on it. And as long as you could fog the mirror, I got the loan for the house. So I got 100% loan to value. And then dummy me, I took off I didn't buy anything else until 2013. Shame on me.
Wow. The rules changed.
Yeah. Look in the rear view mirror is really easy. But I was also out of the country. But yeah, I started buying again in 2013. So I was in the military and I had years built up in that. I paid off all my debts. My credit score was starting to go up from where I broke lease on my apartment complex, and they trashed my credit. But I just kept financing these properties and then refinancing using my VA loan, and I would just find opportunities. Like I bought this triplex and I had to evict all the tenants, little things like that. So I was doing serious value add, getting off market properties.
Okay. So when was it that you decided to go more into the land acquisitions and investing in land outside of buying doors?
2016. I'm riding down the road, going to the Army base, I was listening to podcasts. I was listening to Wholesaling Inc. podcast, which I have the opportunity to be a host on now. I was listening to Bigger Pockets, anything I could get my hands on. And I heard this guy talking about flipping vacant land. And he was going to these tax deed auctions. He was driving all over the place. I didn't have time to do that. I was working like 13-hour days with the military. But I was like, wait a minute, what if I caught these people before they went to the auction? So I started mailing people a handwritten postcard. It's real simple. It just said, hey, my name is Brent. I'd like to buy your land in El Paso County, Colorado, because I was stationed at Fort Carson. If you're interested in all cash offer, call me or text me. God bless you. And my phone started ringing. If anybody wants a copy of that postcard, they can get it at thelandsharks.com/postcard. But that's what I used. I sent out 687 of those. I remember it like it was yesterday. And two people called me right away. And the first one was like, Brent, I got 2 lots in Palmer Lake, Colorado, overlooking the Pike National Forest. The land's not buildable. You can have it for $285. It was what he owed in back taxes. This is a retired CPA. So he couldn't imagine the thought of owing the county taxes. So he's like, just take it for what I owe. And I said, okay. So I went and looked at it, didn't know what I was doing, had no clue what I was looking at. But that $285 in 2016 was a stretch for me. I'm a brand new second lieutenant in the military. I went from enlisted to officer. So I just got a pay raise. We just moved across the country, but still $285. That was diaper money and child food, whatever they call that stuff now. I'm past those years, but what do they call it? Formula. But I was like, honey, can't you breastfeed more? Like, just kidding. I never told her that. She was all for it. But anyhow, I looked at the land. We called the real estate. I was like, realtors probably know what this is worth. So I called the real estate office right next to the land. It's like less than a half mile. I could almost see it from the hill. And thank God, it was like a blessing from God. this realtor offers to buy it from me because I really wanted to know what it was worth. She said 10,000. I'm like, I'm buying it for $285. It's worth 10,000. And then she offered to buy it from me in the same phone call. She's like, what if I just bought it from you? I was like, deal. I didn't know what she was offering. So she ended up giving me $5,000 for it. So I made a quick $4,700 net profit in less than like 7 days and a couple hours of work.
Your wife loved that one.
Yeah, she loved it because I was like, I need to pay the American Express card because I was sending out mailers to try and wholesale houses. And she's seeing those bills. But yeah, and then the next week I bought one for $500 and this one was not accessible. It was landlocked. Who would want that, right? I didn't know who would want it either, but I knew it was beautiful land surrounded by state national park, the Colorado State National Park, or State Park, not National Park, State Park. I put it on Craigslist. I took photos. I put it on Craigslist for $500 down and $400 a month. And that's the one that changed my life because it gave me passive income, true passive income, that I didn't have to go and fix a toilet.
What'd they do with that one?
Yeah.
So the guy that bought it, he was a mechanic. So I told him, you need to talk to an attorney because Colorado, they really can't lock you out of your land. There's ways to get into it legally, ingress, egress. I don't know what he ended up doing. I tried to buy it back from him later on, a couple years later, because I realized that I had sold like something that like this was just south of NORAD where they track Santa Claus and the Cheyenne Mountain. So that land, if he ever gets access to that, it's worth over $150,000 an acre. It was 4 acres.
Wow.
So I don't know what he did with it, but he paid me $400 a month. Sometimes he paid me double payments and I wasn't even charging him interest. I don't know why he did that, but I gave him a land contract and that one was paying my truck payment. And I just kept repeating it.
How long was that for?
So I sold to him for I had this thing about $5,000 because I didn't make $5,000 a month back then. So I was like, if I can make $5,000, I'll be rich.
Yeah.
So I was making like $4,200 a month with the military. So I sold it for him on payments for $5,000, 0% interest. So what's that? 11 and a half months, something like that. So yeah, he paid it off. And then I just kept doing it over and over and over. Before I knew it, I was at like $12K a month net profit coming in. And I told my wife, I was like, I can get out of the military now. And we did. I haven't had a real job since 2018.
So you got out of the military, and not only that, now you have this extra time to scale it up. Which it looks like
scaled it. I did. I scaled it. I got a team of like 15 people, and I no longer have a team of 15 people anymore. It's just me and my office manager because that was crazy. I was like daddy daycare. We had the office, and I was feeding my ego, and I started renovating houses. We were flipping 7 houses at a time. And then I created a program called the Land Sharks, and I started coaching people on how to buy and sell land. So I left my Army job and I created myself 3 or 4 other jobs, aka businesses. Yeah. And I just compressed everything, and I now do what I like, which is like 1 land deal a month. And I coach people how to do land deal. That's really what gets me excited.
So you still do land deals in Vero Beach, or do you buy it elsewhere?
Oh, man, Vero is kind of weird. It's like doing a land deal in Delray or Boca. Like, it's so dense there, not much land, and they want like $900 million. And I'm like, that's above me. I'm like a country boy from Okeechobee. So I've done a couple. I was in Brevard County yesterday. We were clearing some land that I have. So I do them in Brevard. I do several spots in Florida, Okaloosa County, Colorado, Arizona. I think I've done more land deals in Arizona than anywhere else.
And you don't live anywhere near there.
Yeah, it's all virtual now. I really enjoy getting out on the land. Yesterday I had a blast. My buddy bought a brand new John Deere skid steer, and we're out there just clearing land. It was like I don't know. It's like I was like a kid in the candy shop all day yesterday. So
sounds like a
so
tough gig.
How do you locate these properties that are, outside of your market if you're doing it all digitally and knowing that it's going to be a good value?
Yeah, so there's this super high-end site let me back up. I'll just say there's a super high-end site I love using.
Google Maps.
It's exclusive only for the Real Estate Roadmap listeners, but it's called Redfin.
Oh.
I see where land is selling on Redfin, and then I micro down. I see where the land's selling, and I price it out, and then I create a offer campaign to where we send out what's called LOLs. So I've graduated now from the postcard to land offer letters, and I call them LOLs because we laugh out loud every time we get one back because I send you a land offer letter, Alex, because you own, 3 acres in, I don't know, let's just say Atlanta, Georgia. And I see that land is selling for, let's just say 100,000 total for all 3 of those acres. So what is that? 33,000 an acre.
Yep.
So I backwards plan that. It's like, okay, if I want to make like $15,000 on this deal, I'm going to offer you 100K minus my 15K minus what I'm going to pay my land sales specialist real estate agent. That's very important. I like these realtors to walk the ground. And this is not Uncle Bob that's got a license that sells 1 house a year. This is a land sales specialist agent that if he doesn't sell the land, he doesn't eat type thing, or she doesn't eat. So we see who's selling them. We also find that on Redfin. We call all of them, and I want to know the blowout price, the get her done now price. Like Mrs. Realtor, if you have a hard money on this and you're paying interest only payments, you need to sell it yesterday. What would you list it for? So that's where I know I need to be. We have an oops factor if I have lending. So before I know it, I'm offering you $61,000 for your $100,000 property. Most people are not going to accept my offer, but timing, it's all about timing and messaging, and getting lucky. So I send enough of these, they get accepted.
And then you build on them at all, or you just literally wholesale them? You buy them, and then you just find somebody else that will buy it for the $100,000.
Everything you just said, JD, everything you just said. So I've been really having fun putting brand new mobile homes on some of these parcels of land. And I got several I've been sitting on waiting for them to sell. And I'm like, why the heck is this not selling? But I can put a brand new mobile home on it. Now, if people can get FHA and VA and conventional lending, so I just open my buyer's pool like crazy. And I also seller finance them. I let people make me payments, kind of like that first Craigslist deal. So all the above. My preferred method is I want to sell it and make monthly payments for as long as possible. Like I just had one that just got paid off in Daytona Beach. I got $99,000 put in my bank account yesterday. That was after I paid my lender for it. So I had a loan on that one. And I use regular people to lend me money. Mother-in-law, next door neighbor, dentist, my CPA. But yeah, all the above. That one I was clearing yesterday was actually a mistake. I bought that land. It was in Brevard County, Mims, Florida, to be exact. And I saw everything was selling for $57,000 an acre. And we're buying this one for $27,000 an acre, 4 acres. Where can I go wrong, right? Well, we bought 4 that week, and this was about 1.5 years ago with the team of 16 people almost. If you can count all of them, honestly. So I just made a quick decision, but my acquisition manager didn't do the due diligence and see if the land was buildable. He also didn't check the flood maps. So the way we're digging ourselves out of this problem, because I can't sell the land, is it's not buildable. And they want me to build asphalt roads, but there's a loophole. If you combine all 4 acres, we can turn it into agriculture land, and we're allowed to have an equipment barn. And people love their barnuminiums. So that's what we were out there clearing yesterday. We found a high, dry spot, and thank God the county dug a canal and gave me all that dirt that we took, which would they put it on my land. We spread it. We're putting a 1,900 square foot barn, and we tested the market too before we just did all this. We put it on Facebook with the picture of the barn we're putting on the land. We photoshopped it, had 48 messages in about 36 hours.
So if it wasn't buildable, what about utilities and plumbing, and how does all that work?
Yeah, that was actually the number one question. Will there be electric? And the second one was, is there water? Yeah. So we got to answer. We got to give the buyers what they want, right? Because that's who gives us value. So I'm putting a 10,000 kilowatt quiet generator. I'm actually would prefer solar panels, but it's hard to get people to do solar panels just for to run a well. So we're drilling a well, and we're gonna have a very quiet generator that people can do what they want there. So it'll have both.
Gas generator, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Natural gas.
And then septic.
That's a good idea. Yeah, we could totally do natural gas. I wasn't gonna put septic because I didn't want to I think I gotta pull up. I don't know. I didn't want to get in trouble with the county, but I never thought about. No one asked if there's gonna be a toilet there, so that's a good idea.
Really? What are they gonna do?
There's no porta potty.
Yeah, what's wrong with a porta potty? You got natural composting toilets these days. And what's really cool is we only cleared enough to put the building there. So everything else is pure woods, and the roof is green, the sides are green, the trim is green. So it's like someone can have their like cabin in the woods type thing,
That's
AKA
cool.
metal building.
Well, off-grid is
Wow.
big right now. So people that think that they can kind of be off-grid are going to
Mhm.
appeal to those people.
Heck yeah.
Wow. So you've kind of solved an issue based on experience, right? Like, you know, me as somebody coming in as a new land investor wouldn't have thought to do all that. Are these some of the things that you've learned over the years?
Yeah, I think it's because of the Land Sharks community. There's enough people doing land deals in there. I go in there as, you know, I don't go in there as the expert or the guru. I go in there and share my own problems and challenges. I shouldn't say that. My opportunities and solutions. And
There you
I
go.
kind of,
You were trained
you
right.
know, figure out what the heck I can do. Guy, because I want everyone to know I make mistakes too. And most of the time it's because of my ego and I get cocky. That always
Happens
is
to
the
the best
case.
of us.
But it's like I've done now 350 other, I didn't talk about the 350 other profitable land deals that I've done. We only remember the ones that give us challenges, you know?
So you grow.
So I don't know. I think you just surround yourself with the right people. It's like if I want to become a guy that runs triathlons, I'm going to hang out with people that run triathlons.
Well, that
Wow.
makes sense. So
What
I'm
would be
in.
some other?
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Alex.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask, what would be some other tips that you would have for first-time investors in land?
Yeah, I would say, you know, JD, you kind of hit it on the head. A lot of people start by wholesaling or assigning their contracts on land. So I've done that as well. Like one of that first mailer, that first 687 postcards, a bank called me and I was like, holy crap, a bank's calling me. They wanted, so this land was worth like $100 grand back then in 2016 next to Schriever Air Force Base in Colorado Springs. Well, I kept negotiating. I didn't know what I was doing. I was going by the assessed value back then, which is the wrong answer. Don't go off of assessed value.
We tell that all the time to our clients. Trust us.
Yeah,
The
it doesn't make
Zestimate,
sense. Yeah, the Zestimate, that's garbage, guys. Like anybody listening, trust a realtor. But I wasn't smart enough to get a realtor on the phone for that fourth or fifth deal. I don't know why I kept changing the process. I was like moving fast, too fast. And I wish I had a coach back then. I ended up paying that guy that I heard on the podcast $40,000 after I made like a couple $100 grand in land over like a year and a half. But anyhow, I digressed. How can a new person get started? So I told the bank 20K. I gave him the go for no answer. Like it's a great book. Anybody wants to read it over Audible, it's like an hour listen. So I went for no. I told him 20 grand because I was scared, honestly. I didn't have 20 grand. But he's like, the bank manager goes, Brent, you got today to send me a purchase agreement for 25,000. If you can't come up with that, then lose my number. I was like, oh crap. So I sent him the 25,000, but I put it on an assignable contract. I basically Brent, it was my company. Actually, I think I might have bought it my own personal name, like a dummy. No, I had Genesis 215 properties back then. I owned another property in that name, so I used that LLC, so I looked legit to the bank. So I got it under contract, and I went out and put signs up all around the land. 38 acres must sell. No, it's 44 acres. 44 acres must sell 38K. And I put out like 30 something signs. And before I finished putting that signs out, a Texas ranch, or he's a Texan. He said, I just sold my ranch in Texas, which I don't know what that means. I'm assuming like a couple thousand acres because I'm from Florida. That's what we call ranches. He's like, where are you at? And I was like, really close to the land I'm trying to sell. So we met on the land. We shook hands. He said, I'll pay you 38K. So basically I made like a $13,000 assignment fee. That land was worth like 150 grand, by the way. I should have figured out what it was worth. It's worth way more now, obviously. But I got so many higher offers like throughout those couple weeks from people, but I had to keep my word. I even called that Texan. I said, what if I gave you $7,000?
I called that Texan.
Yeah. He's like, Brent, we shook hands on it. And I was like, I know. But honestly, like I got an offer that was $14,000 higher than yours. I'd love to take it because that would be life-changing for me. I'm so glad I kept my word because $14,000 is nothing. Honestly,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah. In the grand scheme of things.
So, yeah.
Can't put a price on your integrity. So, what I was kind of curious, this is kind of fascinating to me because I actually invested. You did 40K in a coach. I did 20K in a commercial coach. I'm going through now, and he has a similar process to you, as you. And I think this might be a powerful thing. What I'm going to share might be a powerful thing for the real estate agents listening. Maybe, maybe not. But they have us doing. Literally, my wife is in the other room right now doing our first round of mailers. She's stuffing the envelopes now as we're doing this podcast. So it
Poor
sounds like they have a
fingers later on.
yeah, exactly. So she has so that it sounds like both tactics have similar, I mean both style land and commercial have similar tactics, going for off market, hopefully motivated sellers in bulk, phone rings, make offers, buy the thing. But when it comes to real estate agents as licensed agents, naturally I was thinking, and you used to be licensed too, Brent. I don't know if I'm trying to get guidance from you and see if you experience this in your career. But I was always imagining there's going to be some instances when I'm reaching out to sellers of property as an investor that it might be better for them to list it instead, and we might get the listing as a commercial agent, or for you, a land agent. So that's my question to you: is like, do you still have your license, and do you ever have to list these pieces of land if that opportunity comes up?
Yeah, that'd be a great opportunity. Probably. I don't have a license anymore, mostly because I let the continuing education go when I was in the military.
Yeah.
And I thought about like when we were flipping houses, I was looking at all the money we were paying the listing agents for these houses. Like we're selling for 450 grand in Colorado Springs. I was like, love, get your license. So my wife actually started to go through the course when she was pregnant with our third baby. Bad time to go through a real estate course, and she doesn't interest. So we let that go. But no license. And I always tell people, I said, why don't you just list it with a realtor? Like, why are you talking to me? Most of the time they have their reasons. And sometimes they do list it. Sometimes it is listed. The realtor will call me. But that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put it on the MLS, most of the time, because I love to sell these. Like we bought one in Texas for 190 a couple weeks ago. We've been marketing it for 290. We had an offer for 275. It fell through in the first couple days. Those are the easy ones. I like that. I'm not going to do anything to that land. That's just profit. I don't have to go and clear it or spend an entire day there. And I'm hoping, we get our 190 out of it so we can pay our private lender and I can get some of my cash back out of it. And we create a note, hopefully for 100K and get paid for 30 years at 12% interest, because that's the real power is like these banks. Like I worked in the Bank of America building off of Linton and US 1 for about a year. And I figured out what the banks do. They lend people money for 30 years at 6, 7, 8% interest. And if you look at the average back a couple of years ago, this was the average $200,000 loan at 6% interest. You pay back 420 over the 30 years. But the first 7 years, that balance is still about 198.
I was doing a script for a reel that I'm going to do, and it was about similar. Anyways, not to get into the details, but basically, if you get a $500,000 mortgage at 7%, you're gonna pay back. It was close to it was just under $1 million.
Yeah.
So what people don't think about is, if you sell the house in the future, you might not have ever made any profit because you already put so much interest into it. So, but anyway, that's not what we're talking about. But it was interesting that you went down that route. So, but the question is in that. I'm still a little foggy on that. So you're saying you will lease back, or you'll do seller financing, and you'll be the seller to a buyer, and then
that's right.
So then you have a term in place where they have to buy you out by.
No, I don't give them balloon payments. I think if you give someone a balloon, you're setting them up for failure. But I give them, like, sometimes. I've done 15-year loans, we've done 9-year loans, but most of the time they never go longer than 7 years. They either sell it or build on it or let it go. Like I'll take the land back. But yeah, I become the seller. Like the 99K I just put in my bank account. We bought that one in really close to Daytona Beach. It's called Holly Hill, Florida. We bought it for 140. With closing costs, it was like 143, and then I sold it for 225. Sold the land for 225, but he gave me a $25,000 down payment, and I had some of my own cash into this. But he asked for 30 years financing, and we negotiated. I think we're like 10% interest. And I called my lender and I said, "Hey, I know you got $65,000 in it, and I'm paying her 12%. But I'm paying her 12% on 65,000, and I just wrote a mortgage for 200,000 at 10.9%. So my payment I'm getting is 1,900 a month. I'm paying my lender like 600 and something a month to amortize it. I said, "You want to go longer with me on this?" And she said, "Yeah, I'm an old lady. I want to earn interest on my money." I said, "Perfect." But yeah, so that guy
So
paid me 1,900 a month.
You extended the term with her, and then you matched the term with this guy, I'm assuming. But is there an end date to this? Is there like, okay, we have to sell it to you officially and get my name out of it by whatever 2030 or something?
Nope, I gave him 30-year mortgage, a 30-year fully amortized mortgage, and he paid me for roughly a few years, and it was roughly, I was right at, I can open my note servicing software, but he paid me over $29,000 in payments
Oh,
plus the 25,000.
so
And
it
his
is
balance
officially
went-
sold.
Yes, yeah. I'm the bank. I am
Got
just
it.
the bank.
Okay, got it.
Sorry,
got it.
I didn't make that clear. I misunderstood your question.
So-
Yeah, I'm the bank.
Got it.
So he put a down payment of 25,000 and he prepaid another 29,000.
No, 19. He paid 1926 a month, so it worked out to about. He paid me 29 grand. So what is that? How many years is that? And I've got 48 of these, so I
Yeah.
love getting the payments coming
chilling.
in. It's like owning 48 houses that I never have to make a repair on. So
Yeah.
29,000 divided by 1926 a month. So yeah, he paid me 15 months. It wasn't even a couple of years. Wow, 15 months. But here's the thing: his
Oh,
balance
15
only went
months
down
ago
to
that
1.9. Yeah. His balance
Got it,
only went
okay.
down to about $2,000. Like that's the
Yeah.
power of an
Interest.
amortized mortgage. Like
Yeah.
I didn't create this stuff. I'm copying what the banks do, really.
So you mentioned while you were discussing that where it was a piece of land that you didn't have to clear, right? How do you determine which piece of land needs to be cleared or not cleared, and you can just sell it as is?
300 and plus land deals, I've only cleared about 8 of them. And if
So-
the ones I clear are the ones I'm going to put something on, a double wide brand new mobile home, or the barn dominium, which it's really, let's call it an equipment barn, because that's why the county's allowing me to do this.
Gotcha.
What's the cost
And
of
is it-
clear?
My buddy hadn't sent me the bill yet,
Invoice.
but generally, it's a few $1,000s. It's nothing much.
For like an acre or for?
Yeah, for acre and a quarter. So I figure $8,000 per mobile home that we put on, but it never runs that much. And I'm a tree hugger. I try not to cut down any trees. Like I love the trees. I don't hug them, but I try and leave the trees.
You think about how
Did you ever try to sell them to like lumber companies or like paper companies?
No, these are Florida trees, and the ones I was doing in Colorado, like I bought another one. A piece of land was just the house burnt down on, so I just popped another brand new mobile home on top of it. So there was nothing to clear. The fire did it.
How so kind of switching gears to going back to when you discussed you built a team of 15, 16 people. When was it where you said, all right, it's time to start scaling my business?
Oh, so I went to this thing called Scale, wrote a $25,000 check to learn how to scale. We're reading Traction and EOS and Rocket Fuel and doing all those things. So I started, scaling. I took scaling really serious in about 2018 when I got out of the military, because I'm a true visionary. If you read the book Rocket Fuel, you'll know what I'm talking about. There's implementers, the day-to-day people, and then the visionary. I get bored really quick. So I'd say about 2018.
Sounds like me. Yeah.
But now I'm like,
Oh, Chris.
I really enjoy working from home. I rented out the office. We stopped flipping all the houses, and life got a lot simpler, a lot easier. I take off Fridays now because I race four-wheelers. Like it's just, I didn't get into this business to get rich. I didn't do it. I really wanted my time back, and I kept getting out of balance. And the easiest way for a man to know if he's out of balance is, what's your wife telling you? Because I believe that God gave us a wife not to be like, she's our helper. Like we have to, like she sees things we don't. So Hopefully your husband knows that, JD. So,
Yeah, he actually yells at me all the time. He's like, "Are you going to be on that computer all night?"
because
I
he
get
wants
it.
your time and your attention.
He's
His love language is probably quality time, isn't it?
it's touch, which I think is a lot of the guys, but it's because we have kids. So he's kind of like, "When are you going to come help me with these kids? If I'm stuck on something," he's like,
Yeah,
"He needs
I
to
get
relief."
that.
And he gets to
That's
go, clock in at 9 and clock out at 5, and then he gets to just not think about a single thing, which is
Us
nice.
entrepreneurs, since us salespeople and entrepreneurs, we tend to be married to the opposite analyticals,
Yes.
right? And they,
Yeah.
the yin and yang, and they don't get it, and we don't get it.
Nope.
And it's annoying that they don't get it.
Yep, and it's annoying to them that we don't get it.
But here's a way to think about it. Could you imagine being married to yourself? You would kill her. You would kill him.
I can barely keep friends. Alex and I fight every week.
All the time. I told him to go
Yeah, I
F
don't
myself
have
the
very
other day. Still love you though.
All right, so I know. Excuse me. So I know you got to go because you said you didn't have too much time, and plus, honestly, I got to go too. I have to go do something for work. But with that said, I do want to talk. I'm actually kind of fascinated by this because I'm potentially spending a fortune in putting down payments down on commercial deals in my training, and I'm like, land is a lot cheaper, it seems, and a lot less.
Well,
headaches.
let me make you feel a little better. I love commercial. I'm friends with Dolph Del Ruz. You guys know him?
No.
He's like the guru. Like he's been doing commercial real estate for a long time. And I was like, Dolph, how many people that? So I was like, why commercial real estate? He said, Brent, because I have 10 friends. One of them's in residential real estate. The other 9 are in commercial. That residential person never went over $1 billion. All 9 of us have $1 billion. In
Yeah,
assets.
I'm getting that a lot.
And I was
I'm
like,
hearing that a lot.
"Oh!" So I take land money and I put it into light industrial buildings with triple net tenant leases. Now I need to get them off market. I've been going on LoopNet like a dummy because honestly, I just needed a place to put money for taxes because like land, I get eaten alive in taxes unless I buy a building.
Yeah,
That
what
cash
like
flows.
I love like master leases and triple net leases and all that stuff that I'm learning. And what's really cool about it, we're not going to deviate too much from land, but a really cool thing is I have investment rentals and I'm collecting these rental checks from these houses, and it's not in one spot. You can get a 10-unit apartment building and have 10 tenants in one spot. And you can get really creative with the financing, and you control the value of the building based on your income and expenses. I'm just blown away by that whole world.
Cap rate.
Fantastic.
It's absolutely amazing.
But
have you ever had people default? Like, what do you do when they default on these
That's a good question.
seller
on the
financing?
land.
Yeah.
Yeah, we took about 8 parcels of land back in the past 3.5 months. That's what I was saying. 7 years is about as long as they go. They either sell it, build on it, and the bank pays us off, or they default. What's the other options?
And
That's
default's
it.
the best case scenario for you, right? You keep their deposit, they've made you payments, and now it's worth more than it was when they bought it.
That's right. And a lot of these that so most of the time I try to be the bank, but if they don't put at least $5,000 or $6,000 down, I'll just do a land contract or a contract for deed, and I never transfer the deed out of my name until they pay me off. So yeah, we take quite a bit back.
Brent, how does your coaching program work? I know you have one for people who might be interested. How's that
Yeah.
process?
So we have the Land Sharks community. It's not huge. I vet everyone that comes in because I want you to do a deal. That's the main thing. I give everyone that comes in, I give you full access to my land business, step by step, that gets you a result as quick as possible. It's instruction. The videos are super short and sweet, no fluff or BS, because I want people to make money within 90 days. What's that?
So my kind of guy. Short and
Oh,
to
yeah.
the point.
I mean, because I assume everyone's like me in 2016. I had no money and no time.
Yeah.
And I had to make money quick. I don't want to educate someone on a 12-month course. And we do several support calls a week that I run 2 of them personally myself. I give everyone my cell phone number. They can schedule one-on-ones with me because at the end of the day, I'm going to show you everything to do. But some people need some additional hand-holding, or maybe they need funding for their land deal. That's huge. If you provide funding for your community, which I can't fund to everybody, and I won't, and I'll only do good deals. A lot of times I'll turn them. I say I wouldn't fund this deal. You shouldn't do it. Maybe just get it under contract and assign the contract. But that's how the program works. It's lifetime access, and I do a lot of deals with a lot of land sharks.
So it sounds like it's.
where can
Go ahead, Alex.
no, I was asking where people can go to check it out.
Yeah, thank you for asking. Thelandsharks.com.
Oh, we could have guessed that, huh?
Well, some
Yeah,
people can't
and
deduce.
And if anybody hits schedule a call, we're actually fixing that to where you can book on a calendar, but I'll be calling you. I usually try and call everyone back within 24 hours. Yeah, it'll be me calling.
Brett,
So it's
it sounds like they go and you could correct me if I'm wrong. Of course, that's the point. Like they sign up, they get access to you in a community with group coaching, and on top of that, they have bite-sized modules that go step by step.
I like that. Bite size, fun size. Yeah,
Fun
the
size.
step by step. And that's the most important thing. So many people want to watch through the course, and it's not funny or anything. Like I'm not like a clown on it, but they'll watch through the whole thing and like, I finished the course. I'm like,
Yeah.
It's only been 3 days. Oh, no, not really. It's only been like a week. You need to start it over. Did you take all the action steps? Well, I just wanted to see what I was getting myself into. No, the people that make money in 90 days, they do every step with me.
Brent, I have a coaching course too for residential realtors, and that's a very, very common thing. They say, I did it. And I'm like, what'd you do? I watched. I'm like,
Oh,
"Yeah,
no.
but you have to like do it.
Do it.
You have to do it. So, this is cool. I'm on your website now. Okay. So the landsharks.com, learn about land. Brent, I need us to be IG Facebook friends. So hit me up because I'm kind of fascinated.
Let's do
by
it.
this.
I'm going to do it right now.
Where can our listeners find you on social media?
Yeah,
it's
it's Brent L. Bowers. Brent L. Bowers. The L stands for land. I had my middle name changed. No.
It's like Lil Wayne. The F is for whatever he wants at that given moment.
Yeah.
Brent L. Bowers.
Okay.
Bowers. Bowers. Awesome. All right, listen, this was really cool because this is something that you never hear, and I'm kind of fascinated by it. So I'm interested in learning about this. Brent, will you come back if we ask you to come back for a follow-up?
Yeah, I would love to. Appreciate you guys having me. I've had a good time. And I love the fact that you guys are doing multiple hosts. I think it's a good time. And I wish JD would not talk so much on the next one, but
I talked a lot. I've looked at land myself in Georgia, and it's a whole new ball game. It's humbling because it's so different at residential real estate with an actual home. And then you go, and I remember like walking the land with an agent, and she's wearing like a hat and like boots, and I'm in like white sneakers, and I'm like, ooh, I feel like I kind of messed up. I fell on my ass. I slid down like a slope. I had dirt all over me. I was not prepared for like, let's walk the land. So it was humbling, and there's so much that you realize you don't know.
Yeah, you don't know until you.
I love it.
Until you know. Awesome.
Chris, are you a dad of 5?
Oh, you're on my my social stuff.
I just followed you. Yeah. So
you
answered my question.
Yeah, buddy. She can't keep her hands off me, Brent.
5 for now.
All right.
Yeah. You need to create a course for that, man. It's like sometimes I'm like, I wear cologne, just see if my wife will notice it. But
yeah, you can do a lot more than that, man. All right. Well, it was great. I do got a jet. I have a 12:30 appointment, so I'm out. But it was awesome. And
Pleasure, Brent.
it was a pleasure, brother.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
thanks, guys. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye. Bye, y'all.